Aloha guys, Eric West here, HawaiiRealEstate.org, coming back to you once again live from the beautiful island of Maui, Hawaii. Just in time for your Maui fix. Yes, sir. So if you're new to the channel, every once in a while, I come down to the ocean and I help you reconnect with Mother Ocean, reconnect with Maui, preferably the west side of Maui, because it has been said, the west side is the best side. It's also been said, Maui no Kaoi, which of course means Maui's the best. So if you're thinking about coming to Hawaii, if you're thinking about moving to Hawaii, if you're thinking about certainly buying any real estate in Hawaii, I'd love to be your guy. But for now, let's just take in the Maui fix, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Lahaina 2025 recovery, and will it ever actually happen? And this video is all about hearing from you. I want to hear from you in the comments at some point in time, if you're up to it. In the meantime, as you think about what you're going to say, let's just take in the beauty of another Maui sunset. So I don't know about you guys, but life can be a little bit, challenging, stressful, irritating, annoying, all-encompassing. Things don't always go the way we like, as planned. Other people certainly can be incredibly challenging. I'll say it as nice as I can. And, sometimes you just got to pull away and just kick back and relax, let a little salt behind the ears, let the sea breeze kick in, let the sunset just exude into your corners of your soul, where you can just take a deep collective sigh. Is it a sigh of relief? Could be. Could be a sigh of exhaustion. Could be a sigh of satisfaction. Could be a sigh without any explanation. Could just be nothing. Or it could be everything. I think everything means something in life. Or maybe the goal is just to find the meaning in life. What does it all mean? I have no idea. But what I do know is being in Hawaii makes it a heck of a lot more fun trying to figure it out. Right? Even if you're just here for a week, 2, a month, the second half of your life, the back 9, the last quarter, the first half, whatever, man, it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. There is a reason for the season of life that you're in. Unfortunately, we don't usually know what that is until the season's over. And you go, oh, that's what that was all about. Hindsight. It's always 2020, right? But when you're in the midst of the mayhem, that's when you got to take a little Maui fix. Just saw a little turtle pop his head out there, man. He's still grinding. So the title of this video, here it is. He just popped up again. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. Is, I suppose I could turn the camera the other way too. Hang on a second. That way I can zoom. There we go. See, if I go that way, now I can have some fun. Look at that postcard. Click. All right, let's get into the heart of it right there. All right, you flat earthers. Talk to me. Lahaina Recovery 2025. Okay. Will it ever happen? That's the question. Because sometimes it feels like instead of us recovering, they just keep throwing more curveballs at us. Kind of like all started with COVID, and it's like this little island hasn't gotten a break since. It's a good sunset, huh? Can you guys hear the little splashy splash of the rocks? Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, man. I see some Karen Hall firing up over here. We got some S-turns right there. Mushrooms over here. A couple fun surf breaks. We got some lanai right there. We got a little Molokai right there. We got some cool condos over here. Kahana Beach. Sands of Kahana. Of course, the beautiful Valley Isle right there in the corner. Next to that, we got some Royal Kahana. Next to that, we got some Hololani. Of course, to my south, we got some Noelani. We got a little Mahina Hina. A little Polly Shores. A little Kuleana. Hayocho Nico. Some Hale Mahina. Come on now. Name that condo. We're not going to talk about condos on this video. That's just too controversial. Just kidding. We're going to talk about everything, man. Look at that. How far can this iPhone go into the beautiful orange sunset? Happening right now, live. So of course, as always, if you enjoy content like this, if you enjoy a little Maui fix, help fight the shadow ban. You know us truthers, we don't get any love on any kind of Google platform. They want to shut down the truth as much as they possibly can. So the shadow ban is real. It's all good. But a thumbs up helps. The subscribe helps. All you gotta do is push the screen. I bet it doesn't even burn 1 calorie. Oh, that's pretty. But in the comments, I'd love to hear your feedback. Will Lahaina ever recover? And why do I ask that? Because here we are 2 years after the fire. Not a single oceanfront home has been rebuilt. Not a single business has been rebuilt. And they can't even get permits. We're not even talking about like construction delays. We're talking about like, there's no permits being issued. And this is 2 years in, folks. So if you're a business owner, and you might just be a business owner on this live right now, could you afford to not have any revenue for 2 years? How long is your staying power? Well, for these Lahaina Front Street business owners and other, not just Front Street, right? There's other places not on Front Street. They're talking like 4 years, maybe, maybe not, maybe never. Government's trying to buy the land on the ocean side. That's right. So what do you think? What's your opinion? What's your opinion on the vacation rental ban? Is that a good thing for Maui right now? Is that what we need? Do we need that after a fire? I don't know. According to a Hawaii University study, half of the fire survivors have left the island permanently. More than likely. That's half. The other half are living somewhere on the island. Only 30% are receiving any kind of assistance, so 70% are completely on their own. And with the declining economy, would it be even possible for them to afford the unaffordable apartment zone condos that are all 1 or 2 bedroom? Think about that. If the economy is bad, could these people even afford? Yeah, it's all crazy, man. It's all crazy. That's all I can say. Logical sense it makes not. So here's my personal opinion of what needs to happen. I think you all need to reach out to Tulsi Gabbard. And there needs to be a federal inquisition into what these goofballs are doing around here. Not to mention an investigation into what happened the day of the fire. Every fire victim that I talk to is still pissed. They're pissed. They are pissed. Just had a guy call me the other day. God bless his heart, his 84-year-old mother died in the fire. And he said, I won't tell you everything he said because it's really heartbreaking, but he says he's reached out to various high-profile fundraisers on the island. I won't mention any names. Line is strong. And tried to get some assistance. Didn't return his calls, emails, texts. Matter of fact, he even started commenting on their social media posts, and they started blocking him and erasing his messages. This is someone who lost their mother in the fire. Grand total assistance, $6,000. And she to be flown back to the mainland, so that did not cover her funeral expenses. And that's it. No one's received any money from the $4 billion settlement, quote unquote, that they talk about. The attorneys are the only ones that are going to individually make the most amount of money. They get 30%. And why you even need attorneys to be involved in that process, I don't understand. But they haven't received any of that money. But the media talks about it, the mainstream media talks about it like everything's just great. Well, everything's great except for the fact they haven't gotten any money yet. So it's not great. It's actually horrible. So how does Lahaina recover emotionally from the PTSD and also the lack of financial help? A couple of people called me and said they're just so worn out from the government red tape, all the phone calls and just the absolute nightmare it takes to get anything done with these organizations. They're just worn out, they're pissed off, marginalized. And yet the government is focused on all this media hype on banning vacation rentals, which does nothing but turn off tourists. How's that for a tourism promotion campaign? Hey, let's get visitors back to Maui. Let's talk about how we're gonna ban vacation rentals. That's good, man. That's smart. That is so smart. If you're trying to kill tourism, that is. So what we got going on out here? We got a sailboat, huh? Oh, you don't see sails up very often in Hawaii because it's usually pretty windliney. As in heavy winds that just hit at certain spots with a fury. You go from zero wind to a wind line that can be very dangerous. But today, obviously, calm winds. Beautiful shot here, obviously, coming to you live from S-Turns, Pahaku Park. S-Turns surf break right there. Not breaking, but the last south swell was so big it did wrap. Mushrooms right here, one of my favorite surf breaks. Gorgeous, huh? So in the comments, guys, let me know, what are your thoughts? I think part of the problem, in my humble opinion, is people are afraid to speak out. They're afraid to say what's on their mind. They're afraid of getting bullied. Certainly that's a reality here on Maui on social media. You say anything against the what's the word? What the activists are pushing. Everyone's afraid to speak out. And if you do speak out, I've talked to so many realtors that have gotten death threats because they have spoken out against the vacation rental ban. They testified in a meeting, in public, and later on were hassled and death threatened, and it's just horrible. It's like, yeah, we have this thing called free speech, but then you've got the haters and the bullies that intimidate, and that causes people to not want to speak their truth, and that is a very childish middle school tactic, in my humble opinion. It's just horrible, isn't it? good citizens, God-fearing, tax-paying, hardworking, being pushed to the edges of their First Amendment rights by haters and bullies. How do we fix that? What's your opinion of that in the comments? What's your opinion on how should Lahaina be rebuilt? Should they allow businesses to rebuild? Like they own the parcel, right? It's so funny. These people talk about the land as if it wasn't owned legally by somebody else. These businesses, and most of them are multi-generational Lahaina families that own these businesses in Front Street. We're not talking about outside investors. We're talking about long-standing, multi-generational Lahaina families. Not all, but a lot. That own fee simple interest. They bought the parcels, they paid the taxes, and now somehow they're having to beg the government for permission to rebuild a structure? I just don't understand that. The fact that it's even questioned is shocking to me. This is their livelihood. Not to mention the people that worked in those stores. That was their livelihood. Right? A lot of people worked in those stores. They say that Lahaina town was the central, like one of the greatest tax revenue producing centers in Hawaii. And those taxes were a result of sales that happened on Front Street and the restaurants and the surrounding areas. And those sales didn't just pay taxes to support the government. Oh, that's right, the government works for us, and they get their money from people that work in businesses. Oh yeah, that's right. They're public servants. Okay, never mind. I'm getting confused. They're not. They're power hungry, controlled by special interest. I don't know what's going on. Never mind. I'm getting confused with what country I think I'm in. All right, just somebody wake me up. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say what country I'm in, because if I said what country I'm in, like I could literally get like a slew of death threats in the next 24 hours because if I said what country I'm in. Isn't that great? I know it, dude. You can't make this stuff up. So is there any chance that Lahaina is going to recover, given the current set of circumstances we're facing? Because you would think a town burns in a quote-unquote wildfire, and how it's a wildfire, I don't understand. Last time I checked, it was a house that burned from a field fire that wasn't put out. And none of the trees really burned. So usually wildfires are like trees in forests, out in the woods. I don't know. Anyway, you would think you just get the insurance money and get the permits and rebuild and you're back in business within a reasonable period of time. Not on Maui though. So I think Tulsi Gabbard does a little inquisition. She used to represent this part of Hawaii, and she's now our Director of National Intelligence, and she's currently trying to take down Obama, which is good. I wonder if that means he has to sell his oceanfront home on Oahu with a massive seawall that he just built. Oh, that's right, they're not giving permits for seawalls anymore, unless of course you're Obama. Anyway, this is your Maui Fix. It was beautiful. And I just wanted to stimulate the conversation in the comments. It's the whole purpose of this, because I'm kind of tired of being like the one goofball that sticks his neck out, talks about stuff, and then has to hear about it from all the crazies. It'd be nice if I heard from the most aloha infused audience, because I know a lot of people watch this channel that live here, that own real estate here, that I don't want to use the word stakeholder because that's a horrible word, but that have an interest in this place at one level or another. And I think it's important in the comments for your opinion to be heard. And you're not gonna get hassled or hated upon. I can almost guarantee you. But who knows? Maybe there's somebody out there that'll shed some light on why this recovery is taking so long and why the people of this island continue to suffer. Why a man whose 84-year-old mother died in the fire gets rejected by the local charities that collected millions of dollars is shocking. The fact that he only got $6,000. I mean, you would think the highest compensation would go to families that lost loved ones, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, if you lost a house, I get it, but a house can be rebuilt. But if your relative died in this fire, you would think, I would just assume, like they're rolling out the red carpet. The highest compensation going to those individuals. Like personal calls from the mayor and the governor, and like at the top of the list for every local charity that received so much money, that they would give first and foremost the largest chunk, the biggest chunk to those families. And here's a guy, you got the $700 and the $6,000 for the funeral. That's it. Does that blow your mind, or is it just me? I want to figure out how to get a database of the entire list of people that lost their home or their life. I know the life is 104, I believe, but they're family members. And just take a survey and find out, hey, which organizations gave you money? Because that was the promise, right? The promise was, send us your money and we'll give it to the fire survivors. So can we survey the fire survivors and say, which organizations gave you money? It seems like a really simple fix, doesn't it? I mean, we gave all the money that we raised to the churches on video within a couple weeks of raising the money, and then the rest went to individual fire survivors, and we provided receipts and everything to multiple government agencies to prove that. So I just think it would be nice to hear from the fire survivors. If anyone has any ideas how we can curate this data, get to the bottom of it, it would be really cool. And maybe this is a one-off case. Maybe the good did happen. I don't know. It would be good to know, though. And that to me is part of Lahaina being restored, is like people restoring their confidence in the organizations that are supposedly helping them. Because I know they've lost confidence in the government. There's no question about that. So then the private organizations, and I know there's organizations that did good things. I mean, lots of them. Samaritan's Purse and a lot of the churches. I mean, that's one of the reasons I gave our GoFundMe to the churches, because they were just boots on the ground, existing community networks of people, and quick to act. They took care of business, man. The churches, they did. Citizens Church, oh my goodness, what a great job they did up there. Shout out to all the churches on Maui, I think, did a wonderful job. People gave me a hard time for giving the money to the churches, but in hindsight, I'm so glad. And of course, they had to sign letters of attestation that said that they would give the money in a way that would directly benefit fire survivors. And they signed those, and many of them had benevolent funds set up already where they could write checks directly to fire survivors. Some churches I try to give the money to. Honestly, like Kumalani, I try to give money to Kumalani, but they say they don't take donor-directed funds. I couldn't direct where the donation would go, so I couldn't give them the money because I had to direct the donation to the Lahaina fire survivors. So some churches, they said, we don't accept donor-directed funds. I was like, okay, well, sorry. Just a lot of stories coming out 2 years later, and a lot of not very much progress happening as well. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure to share a little Maui sunset. We had a nice little blow up of some color. I think things have definitely settled down. Again, please take a few moments in the comments section. Hit me with what are your thoughts on the Lahaina 2025 recovery? Is there a chance? Is it ever going to come back? Or do they just win? Does anyone know how to get a hold of Tulsi? I do, because she actually was supposed to come to my house right after the fire, so I actually have her assistant's number, so I might be reaching out to her, I don't know. But I think the more that the Trump organization, administration hears from people about their concern about what's going on over here, I think that's helpful. And I think it's time that they do an investigation into the events of 8/8/23, because I still am not convinced that we have all the answers to what happened that day. I just want to know, why wasn't there any water to put out that first house that caught fire? Why was there no water? I think the people of Maui, the people of Hawaii, the people of our country deserve to get the answer to why was there no water when there was a water tank, a big one, right above the hill from that house. Why was there no water? I just want to know that. I want to know why there was no water. That's all I want to know. Because if there'd have been water, the town wouldn't have burned. Just like we had the Kaanapali fire the other day, they had water. They were spraying water on the fire. And water puts out fires. So if you don't have any water, you can't put out the fire. And if you've got 80-mile-an-hour winds, then the fire's gonna spread really fast like a fire tornado. And why was there so much wind that day in Lahaina town? There's never, ever any wind in Lahaina. Just talking to a client today, this afternoon. They said that they were here the day of the fire, and there was these little cyclones all over Lahaina. Like some guy was driving on a moped, and there was like a cyclone right around him that almost blew him over. Then they got back to their house up here in Kahana, and there was no wind. Like, how could it be windy in Lahaina and nowhere else? It wasn't windy on the other side of the island. It wasn't windy in Kihei, but it was windy in Lahaina. We need answers to that, man. I'm telling you, this is not gonna just go away. We need answers. Why was there no water? And I have put in so many FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act, to get the transmissions between the fire department and the police officers and the CAM, and they just don't respond. They don't give you Freedom of Information Act data. It's weird. Why do we have the Freedom of Information Act if we don't have freedom to get the information? Anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you. Much aloha. Thank you for being the most aloha-infused audience on planet Earth. Thanks for sharing the video on your Twitter, your X, your Insta, your FB, commenting. Please comment. Please thumb up. Please subscribe. Because guess what? This message doesn't get out if they just silence it, man. I mean, I put out so many videos during the fire. It's insane. I had to be the most prolific YouTuber right after the fire. Yet when you Google those today on YouTube, can't find them. To this day. Now that's weird. That's weird. That tells you something, in my opinion. Okay, much aloha. Till next time, Eric West out. Maui Dan, I'm always thinking about you, bro. I'm always, because the ice, it's coming. That's the ice scraper that Maui Dan's gonna use on his car in a few months, and that means you have to come to Maui. When you start scraping the window with ice, that means you should have already bought a ticket to come to Maui. You should have already bought it. You should buy it now, because it's coming. Oh yeah, I know, it's August and you're kind of hot and you're feeling all confident, but guess what? You're gonna be cold really soon, and this is what you're gonna need. So come over here, support the local economy, support the apartment zone people that are getting targeted. Come over here and tip a waiter or a waitress. Come over here and get some sashimi, get some macadamia encrusted mahi-mahi, and say hi to Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker. Yes, sir.